As an artist, few things feel worse than releasing a flop. But in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a deal. I would venture to say that it is worse to not release any music at all than to release a flop. Not releasing any music at all means that you are giving into the fear of what might happen, especially the potential bad that might happen, rather than taking a chance and doing something you love and accepting the consequences and then moving on and trying again. The fear of failure is only a problem if you let it stand in your way. So let's talk about what failure looks like as an artist. And let's take a look at 3 things that I believe are true about failure and about the fear of failure that might help you overcome that fear and start living out the life that you want to live, creating the work and releasing the work that you want to put out into the world. Okay, so firstly, failure is how we figure things out. If you want to do anything in the world, anything at all, music or literally anything else, there is no replacement for actually doing the thing. If you're an artist, that means making music and releasing music and experiencing the potential and I would say pretty much guaranteed negative feedback that you're going to get about your work at some point. Whenever risk is involved, there's going to be a potential negative along with the potential positive. I mean, I'm no stranger to what it feels like to release something that you've worked so hard on and only get crapped on for it on the internet. I mean, that's happened to my music. You should see some of the comments I get on some of the ads I run. It's happened on YouTube time and time again. I mean, the YouTube comments are a wild place, y'all. You wouldn't believe some of the negative, hateful things that people say on the comments that I don't approve and let come out into the world, right? There's some pretty nasty stuff that goes on, but this is a byproduct of actually taking risks and putting stuff out into the world that you want to create. But you can't let the fear of that negative deter you because there's so much more positive that can potentially come from it as opposed to the negative. Those potential positives are how we get better at what we do. We make more content, we make more music, we release more, we share more, we connect with more people, we build more relationships and friendships with like-minded people who are enjoying what we're doing or who are doing things that are similar to what we're doing. Because we can think and plan and strategize as much as we want to, but really that's just procrastination by preparation. And the only way to know if what we have is worth anything is to put it out and see how others respond to it. Besides, the naysayers, the negative people, even though they're the loudest, they are a very small minority of the people who pay attention to what you do. Ultimately, when you're putting out creative work, most of your fans, most fans of this YouTube channel are sleepers. They will watch what you do. They'll listen to what you do without ever commenting, without ever saying anything. They'll just kind of lay in the cut forever and enjoy what you do passively, and you'll never even know about it. Okay, number 2. This one's actually my favorite one and one that it took me a very long time to understand. The internet isn't permanent. I think many of us mistakenly assume that just because you post something online, it's gonna live out there in the universe forever. I certainly used to feel this way. I mean, when I first started making content on YouTube specifically, I thought to myself, well, I'm creating kind of like a time capsule of events so that people can always go back and see the journey. They can see exactly where I started and work from the beginning all the way through to understand how I got to where I am and how I arrived at the thoughts I have and the systems that I've developed and why I release music the way that I do and this, that, and the other. But I quickly came to realize that nobody is going back and watching my old videos, and very few people are going back and listening to my old songs if they're not good enough to be evergreen. And the same can be said about videos or any other content that you're making. The only old content that is going to be continually consumed by anyone's audience is stuff that is high quality and evergreen. And that is really only about 1% of what you will ever make in your life. The other 99% of what all of us make, generally speaking, is going to get lost in the ether and forgotten about. Even if people do see it, they probably won't remember it unless it is really engaging and really good, which means 99% of what you put out is kind of an effort to find that 1%. And if you end up not liking it, or if it's no longer representative of what you want to create, then you can just pull it down. You can set it to unpublished, you can set it to unlisted or private, or you can just delete it altogether. It's your art. It's your creativity. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You have permission to do whatever you want to do with it. If you put out a video and you take a stance on something and then you change your mind one day and you go and adjust your stance, like say you love playlisting and then you hate playlisting and then you love playlisting, you can delete that video and then delete that video and then stick to that video. You can do whatever you want to do. If you release a song and say you make a bunch of lo-fi beats and then you want to transition to being like a rock artist, You can pull down all the lo-fi stuff. It doesn't matter. Or you can just start a different artist project and do something different that way. You can do whatever you want to do. You can publish, you can unpublish. You have complete freedom. And there is nothing wrong with pulling stuff down if you don't want it to be representative of who you are and what you do anymore. Okay, and the third one. This isn't my favorite. Number 2 is my favorite, but this is the biggest one in my opinion. No one sees your failures anyway. The internet is full of content. It is full. One of the most frequent negative comments I get on YouTube or any other social platform when I'm talking about music and marketing is the market is oversaturated. Well, yes, it is oversaturated, but it has always been oversaturated and it will always be oversaturated. There are roughly 8 billion people on the planet. The internet is just about ubiquitous. Everybody's posting content. Everybody's creating stuff. There is more content than anyone could ever consume in, I don't know, millions of lifetimes at this point. It's ridiculous. So you're not doing yourself any favors by not creating stuff. And if you create something that isn't great, no one is really going to see it anyway. Think about a billboard in Times Square. Most of us think that when we post something on the internet, the moment we hit publish, it's going to go up on that billboard in Times Square and millions of people are going to see it. But that's not really how it works. When you hit publish on something, it's going to go on some old dusty, like 2x2 square piece of plywood on a back road in the middle of the country somewhere where like 5 people might drive by and see it in one day. And if it's really good and the message really resonates, then it might get promoted to a bigger billboard on the interstate. And then it might get promoted to a bigger billboard in Times Square where it actually does get millions of views and lots of attention. But it has to start in this little bitty back road where very few people will see it to begin with. And if it's not good enough, it's never going to get promoted from there anyway. So really, nobody's going to see it. And even the people who do see it, even the people who do drive by and see this little billboard are going to forget about it because they are inundated with other billboards all the time throughout their day. So your failures don't mean anything to anyone else but you. And if you do have a failure, you have that less than 1,000 streams thing on the side of your song on Spotify, or you have a video that has 25 views and you think it feels kind of embarrassing. Go back to point number 2. Take it down. If it's that big of a deal to you and it's been up long enough to have given it a test run, just pull it down. You're under no obligation to leave it up forever. Again, you can do whatever you want to. This is your work, your art, your creativity. However, if you can push through these failures, if you can push through that under 1,000 streams thing and get past that and have a little bit of grit and keep releasing and keep putting out content and keep trying new things, keep testing new marketing strategies and keep sending DMs to try to get collabs with artists that you think will help you and maybe you can help them. If you will take these risks and push past that fear and do it for long enough, I truly believe that you can succeed because most people, unfortunately, will give into the fear and not hit publish, and they will procrastinate by preparing and try to think themselves out of it rather than just going in full force and trying something and then coming up for air every once in a while and realizing what's going on and then adjusting course as necessary. So if you're struggling with the fear of failure and it's preventing you from living your dreams and creating the art you want to create, take it from me. It's normal. We all experience it. But if you can push through, I think you'll be a lot happier on the other side of it. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did and you want to go deeper with topics just like this every single week, then I hope you'll subscribe to my newsletter, The One Thing. Every Tuesday, I send out one thing that I am either thinking about or testing to help you succeed with your marketing and grow as an independent artist. So if you do want to subscribe to that, I'll leave a link to do so in the description of this video. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.